Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle, and today I'm going to film a homeschool update video. If you're new here, I have 3 children, 9.5-year-old, 5.5-year-old, 2-year-old, and I'm homeschooling my 2 oldest, and this is our 2nd year of homeschooling. So we started homeschooling for 4th grade and K through 1st grade at the beginning of August, and it's almost mid-October, so this will be about 2.5 months we've homeschooled. And I think it'd be a good time to give an update because we have a good feeling of all the curriculum we've used. We've also finished some curriculum, so I can review some of that as well. So I'm going to break it into 3 different videos though, because I think each of my kids deserves their own section of the video. Like K through 1st deserves its own, 4th grade deserves its own, and group work alone would be a super long video. So that's going to be its own video in itself. So first I'm going to do K through 1st. This next video will be 4th grade. The one after that will be family subjects. So for my K through 1st grader, again, she's doing kindergarten level in some things, 1st grade in other things. She is 5.5. She's about to be 6. So the main things we've done for her is she always starts with writing. And I use the core knowledge skills. And again, this is free online. You can check out some of my core knowledge videos, but it's very kind of explode the code-like. It's a combination of phonics, but also writing. You can see she did some writing there, but I think it works very well. It's a free resource. I always keep the handwriting without tears letter formation chart handy with her pages so she can do that. And I probably should preface this by saying she's done a lot of the handwriting without tears books. She did the print book. She's gone through many different forms of handwriting books. So I think right now we're just at the stage where she needs to practice. And core knowledge does that really, really well. Again, I do the skills section. Core knowledge is split into different skills and like reading comprehension, things like that. So the skills she does focuses more on phonics and writing. For example, that is one she also did as well. So that's been going really well. She'll do a page of that a day. And again, I just print off as needed, like 10, 15 sheets at a time. She'll pick whichever one she wants to do, but her handwriting's coming along very well, and it really helps with that phonics practice. For math, she is on to Dimensions 1A. She finished KB. She did the textbook, the workbook, and the test book, and she did really well with it. I keep the test as a kind of portfolio thing to see, so she can see what she's done and I can see how far she's come. But she could do most of this independently with me reading the instructions to her, so I know she's understanding the material we're going over. She's excited to start 1A and get into some more challenging things. So what's next? So for reading phonics, what we've been doing is all about reading. She has about, I think, 8 lessons left of this, and she's doing really well with it. The one thing I know she had an issue with was the warm-up sheets. So for example, this is an example of a warm-up sheet. She was having trouble reading these, and I couldn't figure out what it is because she knew the words, and I tried covering it up. I tried putting in a dry erase sleeve and blacking them out when she finished it, and that was fun, but I realized that she needs to physically move her body when she's reading. She's not a child that can sit there and read, and it can be difficult when you're moving your body around all these words. She would constantly lose her place and try to read a different word. So to correct that problem, all I did is I'll take these words and I'll write probably 3 on this side, 3 on this side, and I'll just have her go through. And then for the sentences, the phrases, I'll just write 1 sentence here, 1 sentence here. And then she can move around this board. She often likes to read on her side or walk in a circle. How she can physically move her body and read at the same time I find astounding, but it works for her. She needs to move her body. And since doing that, she's done really well. She can blend really well. Her fluency has increased, so just giving her the ability to move her body while focusing on her work has really helped. Like I said, she's doing well. She can read larger words like bathtub. She's starting to get to the point where she doesn't have to sound out as many words, which is really nice. She definitely doesn't seem to have a inkling to read for fun. yet. She likes to look at the pictures and different things like that, but she hasn't picked up a book for fun to try to read, and that might come later, I don't know. Or she might not just be a love of reader kind of kid, and that's completely fine. But she's doing really well with that, and it's interesting because I never had to purchase level 2 of this with my oldest. Probably halfway through, 3/4 of the way through this book, my oldest was fluently reading in kindergarten. So I think part of my problem is I have to realize that my daughter, my oldest, was not the typical child learning to read. She was probably more advanced than her peers, and that I need to lower my expectations a little for my 5, almost 6-year-old, that she's doing fantastic for where she's at. We will pick up level 2 and we'll continue to work through that. If she needs level 3, we'll continue to get level 3. I think with all kids, there's this point where something just clicks in their brain and they take off. And she's just not quite there yet, and it's okay that she's taking her time. That's the great part about homeschooling. She can take her time, and it's not pushed, and it doesn't become one of those things where she hates reading. So she's doing very well. We will, when she finishes this, definitely be picking up level 2 because she will need, I think, more practice with that. The only other thing we are doing for her is core knowledge, language arts, and we are doing the 1st grade. And we are doing 1st grade because I looked at kindergarten and it was just too easy for her. It was a lot of phonics practice, frankly, a lot of things that were already covered in this, so we didn't need to do kindergarten. Now she does, for the skills for writing and phonics, she does the printouts I do for handwriting are from the skills K, but her language arts is from the 1st grade units. So we've really enjoyed it, and I've showed in previous videos how I'll put my day in the life up in the cards, but I really like it. I have my Samsung tablet here, and I have all the teacher guides loaded on here, but I'll probably do a scroll through shot for you guys because you won't be able to see my screen, but we've gone over folk tales, fairy tales, human body, and early civilizations. So these are all done in like a story format, so she has a flip book that I've loaded onto, and again, you have the option of printing all these things as well if you want, or purchasing them. But I prefer to do it this way. So she has a flip book and she'll look at the pictures of the story while I read the story from my teacher guide. And it's gone very well. You start out with a story, for example, Cinderella. We read 3 or 4 different Cinderellas, which is really nice. That what I love about core knowledge is it's pulling different parts, different perspectives. So we've read books from Ireland, France. They originated in there. Europe, things like that. We read the ancient Egyptian version of Cinderella. So that's really interesting to get that multi-perspective, checking out books that we've never countered before. One thing that's really nice is in every unit you get I did print this out, the recommended resources. And this was for different lands and similar stories. So you can look at your library, you can look at Hoopla, you can look at all these things. We usually on Friday will have a couple of these books that I've checked out, either on my tablet or the library, and we'll read through them. But I really like that it has those resources. So like I said, you start off reading the story, and they're not long stories. They're probably 4 or 5 images. You read the story. What I like is that it has different discussion questions, but also deeper level thinking questions. And it goes through what levels it talks about, so literal thinking, evaluative, all those things. So you're not just, what did this character do, or what was the setting? It's asking you multiple different things, which is nice. There's always vocab work in this. For example, one of the vocab words we did was canal. One of the vocab words we did was worthy. So it just goes over the definition, how it was used in the story, and then you give examples and you ask your child, is this an example? So you give them a situation. Would this be an example of being worthy? And they would say yes or no. So I like that the vocab is interweaved in there, relates to the story, which is really nice. There are, of course, activities you can do as well. For example, there's pronouns like you would expect. So when we did the skeletal system, this is what she did. And again, it's done in a story format, so it was a kid visiting a pediatrician, talking to the doctor in that kind of format, questions, but at the same time learning different body systems. This was another handout for that, so she would know each of these body systems from the stories we read. Right now, we are currently on Early World Civilizations, which is really nice, because it's something we haven't touched much in our homeschool. So, for example, we talked about Mesopotamia in our story, and we did this on a whiteboard, but we talked about the religion, the leaders, the writing, the cities, and the farming. So kind of what life was like for them. We've gone into Egyptian hieroglyphics, and that's what I love about core knowledge, is it's pulling so many different parts into it. You're pulling history, you're pulling geography, language arts, art. All these things are pulled in and weaved into core knowledge, which it's a very comprehensive program, and I'm not sure why more people don't use it, because it's free and very well done in my opinion. So for example, we've been talking about different world religions, and I have to say, because it comes from a secular background, there's no bias, there's no agenda pushing in it, so you can really learn. Of course, this is at a first grade level, so it's done at appropriate age level, but you learn, the number of gods. So we did Judaism, Christianity, Islam. This is what we're working on right now. Number of gods, key figures, the followers, the symbols of faith, the holy book that they adhere to, important holidays, and an interesting fact. So you're learning about these different cultures and how to recognize symbols and just learn about them, which I think is so great, especially in the world that we live in now. So that has been going really well. We will continue with that. I keep all of her little printout sheets in her folder, but she likes it. I like it. Usually when my daughter was doing her IEW for 30 to 45 minutes, we would tackle the language arts portion, the core knowledge language arts. And again, we could probably get through 1 to 2 stories. There's always activities listed that you can go further with things, but you can pull what you want from it and use what you want from it. You don't have to follow it T from T. It's very adaptable. So that is everything that she's doing school-wise, elective-wise. This summer she did swimming, and that kind of went into early fall, and then early fall she started gymnastics, which she has enjoyed. And it's interesting because she definitely moves her body a lot, so it's nice to give her the opportunity to move her body in a class structure. And she's met some friends, and it's been great, so she's enjoying that. It's about to end, I think next week is the last week of her gymnastics. I asked her if she wanted to continue with that or try something new, and of course she wants to try something new. So we will be on the outlook for some late fall activities that she's interested in, but that is her update. I think she's doing very well for her age, especially when she joins us with group work. She's doing a lot of stuff and she's enjoying herself. So if you have any questions, leave them down below. If not, thank you for watching.